Good morning. It is July 24th. It is a Thursday. The weekend is closing in. We've got some thunderstorms to talk about. I'm moving things around here. We've got the Bears up at the Brooks River Falls. I want to talk about them a little bit. We're going to do what we did yesterday, which we do every day here, is we're going to do weather off the top, and then we're going to do nature snacks on the back end. So if you just want the weather in a relatively quick manner, then I'll give it to you right off the top. We'll go right to the models, blah, blah, blah. And then the back half, we'll do things like this. These are the Brooks River Bears. The thing that's awesome about this camera is, first of all, it's very remote. It's a solar operated camera. It is a major spot to watch brown bears feeding on sockeye salmon. It turns out those are the salmon that are running right now. Earlier this year, there were king salmon running, and now it's the sockeye run, is at least what I've read. The thing that's awesome about Brooks River Falls, and the reason you know about it probably, is it's an interesting study in bear dynamics. You can see, you see this big bear here. He just grabbed a fish, right? He almost looks like one of the cubs. But there's a kind of a pecking order, a hierarchy of bears, and they develop social interactions and social structures based on these falls. So the big bears get the best spots. The little bears work the edges. There are some disagreements, but it's really an awesome place to study bear behavior. One of the things that I thought was interesting, because if you look in here, you can see all the fish that might be dying, right? Because they can't get up to the falls to spawn. But there's a lot of debris left over. The bears they only really eat the skin and the head and a little bit of the meat. And then everything else just goes down river. Bears eat I don't want to write down 60, 70 pounds of fish a day. But all that stuff goes down river and it feeds the bugs, it feeds the other animals. It's like this whole circle of life that goes on. And it is, when you look at this is nonstop. We've been watching the bears feeding, or at least watching the salmon running now for over a month, and they haven't slowed down. And they actually increase. So this is a lot of food moving up the scale or up the river. This is probably one of the best places in the world to see it. I'm looking at my notes right now. Awesome fishers, sockeye salmon. Yeah. And, they eat about 40 salmon a day. Yeah, so 60, 70 pounds. And the bears can get up to 700, 800 pounds, the big ones. Okay, so that's just an idea. So that would be the party in the back, the nature snack, right? So I got some nature snacks loaded up for you. We'll do that every day. We start off with the weather, beautiful shot of what an inversion is. I bet if you've been with me any amount of time, you know what an inversion is now. You know it's the warmer air over the cooler air. Cooler air sinks, right? So it can't rise into that. Now, if this was cooler air here and warmer air here, the warm air would rise and you would have instability. Right? In this case, it's an inversion. So anytime you get warmer air above cooler air, the atmosphere can't mix out. So everything under this fog is pretty stable, right? It's a real stable environment. So air quality can, when you talk about bad air quality, it's usually we talk about inversions. Well, it's because all the particulate matter from cars and trucks and factories, smoke, volcanic eruptions, I guess. Well, actually, they go up out of that. But from any kind of debris, particulate matter in the air gets trapped in here. So in the LA basin, we talked about that yesterday, leaded gasoline. Before they came up with unleaded in the early 70s, late 60s, it was a mess because that inversion in the LA basin, you guys know it stuck around. And so if it wasn't fog, it was just pollutants. And it was a lot. So that's what an inversion is. So I'm talking about the inversion today because this deeper inversion, which is up over, in this case, 1,800 feet, is pushing inland. It's pushing into the Sacramento Valley. It's pushing into the North Valley. It's creeping into the South Valley. It's deterring extreme fire danger, and it's keeping us below average in terms of temperatures now for a number of days this summer. And again, many folks suggesting, and there are some of the records. I'm going to wait till the season's over before we, call it a, record cold or anything like that. But it's on track to be one of the coolest summers that I can remember. This reminds me of '82, and I was actually living out in the avenues at that time, which Avenue San Francisco, so under that fog. So again, you can see, you go, Bill, how'd you know it was 1,800 feet deep? Well, the profiler's down right now, the acoustic profiler out of Fort Ord, which is like a sounding, but it's acoustic. It sends up sound. and then determines what the temperature is and where the inversion is. We don't have that working right now, but we do have our eyeballs. And we went up to Mount Diablo and we looked out and we saw, whoa, there's Mount Diablo is 2,500 feet. Top of the fog is just about right at the little nose of Mount Diablo, so it's about 1,800 feet deep. There's the fog and low cloud. A lot of it. And you can see how far inland it is too. Little eddies, right? You see those eddies coming offshore. Eddies sometimes will clear the coast. This is Cape Mendocino, and I have a lot of friends up at Point Arena because I love surfing up there. It's an awesome, awesome wave, and it's a good crew of dudes and women. But anyway, the wind that comes down the coast, and here is the eddy that forms, right? It bounces off the point. It shears, right? Shears, it bends. And so you get these eddies. You get a Southern California eddy, you get Northern California, you get eddies everywhere, depends, especially when you get a point. But oftentimes that eddy will get you some clearing, and that's kind of what we're seeing around point, kind of near Point Arena right now. We're getting some clearing because of an eddy. There's some high clouds. This moisture brings us the opportunity for a afternoon, evening thunderstorm tonight. We'll look at that. And elevated thunderstorms, we talked about it yesterday, with the potential for a lightning fire start, right? Because these are high elevated convection, if you will. So dry way down, but way up here, boom, 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 lightning hit. You'll see that. But this is the moisture that's coming in. As the day goes on, it becomes, you go, well, it doesn't look like much. It is a lot though, because it's morning. In the afternoon, this stuff's really going to blossom. And way over here, I think you can see the fire. That's the Grand Canyon, out in the Grand Canyon fire area. They have had a lot of smoke. You can see that smoke coming all the way up in here. Smoke, though, right? Northern California fire. Here is Butler fire. Looks pretty good to me. It's really setting down. And then the green fire, which, by the way, CAL FIRE, you guys rule. I mean, and Forest Service. I mean, the management on these fires in California this year has been nothing short of stellar. They've had help with weather, but they're using the two entities I mentioned, Forest Service and CAL FIRE, they're using the natural weather patterns to help them fight future fires, which is as important as fighting current fires, and in some cases may be more important than fighting current fires. I know that sounds weird, but right? Because you saw what happened. I saw what happened in Paradise. That place, I grew up there, right? And I was there that day, that afternoon and evening, and I saw what happens when you don't have a major burn in town. We never had a burn in town that I can remember. And I was born in 1958. In the canyons we did, but not on the ridgeline. And we remember thinking, oh, we'll never have a fire in town because the fires always burn in the Butte Creek Canyon and the Feather River Canyon. And they did. We had fires all summer long. But this year, and in the fall, but in that campfire year, that fire came right down the ridgeline, right down the top of the ridge. And that was unexpected, and it hadn't burned. My dad, 98 years old, goes, no, never seen a wind like that. He was up there that day. Never seen a wind like that. So he'd been there since 1954. And he said, I've never seen anything like that. So a lot of things came together, but the town hadn't burned. My point is, CAL FIRE's crushing. Sorry for the long roll out there. I like this shot. This is showing the deeper marine layers far south as Santa Barbara. This is Point Conception. Chumash Indians, Point Conception. This is where they used to, very spiritual site for them, not unlike Point Reyes was for other Native Americans, because it sticks out. Point Conception is that last point before, we used to call it the Southern California Bight, because you go around Point Conception and you're basically into Santa Barbara, Malibu, Los Angeles, San Diego. You know who you are. And so this is the tip of Point Conception. And over here it would be Diablo Canyon, that old nuclear power plant. And the Vandenberg Air Force Base, it's not Vandenberg, is it Vandenberg? Lompoc, gosh, oh great, nice. It's not Vandenberg, it's, I'll think of it before we're done here. It's in Lompoc. God, why can't I think of it? Maybe it is Vandenberg. Anyway, here is the fog, and you can see it burning off, probably an eddy. Well, let's take a look. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's look and see. Oh, there we are at Point Conception. See a little bit, not much of an eddy, but the wind is shearing the fog away from the point. There's a little, yeah, it is kind of an eddy. It's kind of an eddy. It's just a long form eddy. See it come here, and the curly cues here starts to come back at you. See it? So that's where the clearing is. And so that's what we are looking at. Oops, right there. Okay, so now we get to the forecast highs for today. Very pleasant, as they have been, below average. Quelling much fire danger. Air quality been awesome. It's just been a good run, and it's not going to change. So this weekend, more of the same. There is a fire weather watch, or actually a red flag warning now for these parts. And I guess that is the big weather story, is going to be those thunderstorm potential for the northern part of the state. And it'll come out over the valley, out over Paradise and Chico. And we'll see that in the HRRR, or no, let's look at the North American. We could look at the HRRR too. These are different models. And these are forecast models. And you, my friend, can look at these too. And I don't expect you to, because you're probably cooking dinner right now or doing something interesting and listening to this. But this model is awesome for it's kind of not it's a very usable model because it's not granular. It's big picture. And big picture shows us, big circle, and then this low. This is a vorticity map. The yellows and reds just represent areas of, let's just say there's areas of lift. The areas that are green and lessened colors tend to be areas of sink. The areas of lift are where you get instability in the upper atmosphere. This is up, 500 millibars or so, up at 20,000 feet or so. And so there's some lift. That's the low. That's the mechanism for all the cooling. That's the mechanism for the shower and thunderstorm activity for tonight. And then the parent low, which is up in here, is a kind of attached. See the jet stream here and here. So you'll see them react. They kind of see how it's kind of getting pulled with it. So either way, that trough, so now you can see it clearly. This trough here, those black lines, that's it. And that's all the way through Tuesday next week. So what's going to change between now in terms of temperatures and between now and Tuesday of next week? Nothing. What's going to change will be some of that thunderstorm activity that's coming up. And then we continue to see this. Okay, so now we're into we're into August 3rd. What's going to change between now and August 3rd? The only thing we're looking at that's is anomalous is those thunderstorms that are forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Red flag warning in the north, and we'll look at that. But in terms of big picture, we just went through a bunch of days. I'm going to go all the way through. See, I think you can see it now, right? It's pretty clear this time. And then, geez. Right here, August 4th is when something wants to change and there's a potential for a big heat up. Will that happen? It's a long way out, man. It's a long way out. That's a big ridge. That would be hot. Be some monsoonal moisture as well, but it's a long way out. So what I just showed you, and you can do that with them all too. Oh, look, did it yesterday. The trough. There's the west coast of the United States. Boom, boom, boom. It bumps into it. And it kind of keeps going back and forth. And as long as that trough hangs out there, because what's supposed to be there is the Pacific High, right? And they call it the Pacific High for a reason, because it's wet winter, dry summer for sure. But it's also very hot summer typically because the high pressure keeps the inversion shallow. But the Pacific High has given way to the Pacific High. I wonder if I can do this. So you got a ridge of high pressure, and the high, this is the H, the ridge of high pressure, the high is right underneath it, right? So that's the normal summer. That's not happening. What we have this year is this jet stream trough, right, that's sitting here, and it's basically an arm or a part of the Aleutian low, which is more of a wintertime feature, a rainy season feature, and it's just lingering, and it's just bumping back and forth, and it's not allowing the high to form. So it just keeps hanging on in some iteration. The high doesn't want to come back, like I said, until August. That could have worked, maybe. Because once you visualize this stuff, you're in, right? Once you go, oh, Trump, it's horrible. It's like I always say this, it's like a surface map. Or no, it's like a topographic map. First time you ever looked at one where you like to hike, and if you do look at them, they're kind of like, kind of get a little headache. But then when you look at it enough, you go, and you disregard all the stuff you don't need to know. That's what the 500 millibar vorticity map, GFS, is about. You can disregard a lot of the little, because it's not granular. It tries to be, and you can pull grain from it, but what you get is a really awesome big picture look at it. So hope that worked. And it's simple. And again, I said this yesterday. I should have done this on the back end because I'm not doing weather quick enough. This is for today. Here is the rain. My goal is for you to understand this stuff because no one will make a better forecast for your area, for what you're doing, for where you are, for where your grandparents live, for where the grandkids live than you. No one can do a better forecast than you. Can I? Now I can because I've been doing it for a bunch of years, but you can do it too. And that would be my ultimate goal is for you guys to the weather apps on your phone, awesome. They're awesome for just like, oh, I'm going to Disneyland. Oh, looks like it's going to be sunny 10 days out, 7 days out. Looks like it's going to be, they'll get you close. But when you're in a weather event or you live in a neighborhood like Evergreen in San Jose, where you have this interesting microclimate between San Jose and Morgan Hill, but nobody really forecasts for you guys Evergreen or for Auburn or for Grass Valley or for Paradise. And they're always wrong. You go, they're wrong. My daytime high today wasn't this. You can do that all yourself. The reason they're wrong is because they're using huge grid maps, not a large grid scale, and there's no way the models don't go that. They're not that granular. Even the HRRR, which is awesomely granular, is not that tight. But you, my friend, can be that tight because you're a data source, a data point on the ground. You're going to have access to it. Okay. So when we're looking at this stuff, we're looking at weather balloon data, right? This is what the guys at and women at the National Weather Service look at. This is, you do this enough, you will get super good at it for your neck of the woods. Will you be king or queen of Newtonian or of the hypsometric equation or the I'm thinking all the equations we used to learn that build these models? No, you won't be. But you don't need to be. That was for Copernicus and those guys. This is for us. This is why they did what they did. That was weird. Okay, so here is we got the North American. This is simulated reflectivity, and right here, and this is why there's a red flag warning. I should have been hitting the red flag warning harder, but I'm not really worried about it. Oh, why am I not worried about the red flag warning? Because, and it's up in this area for these. See where these lightning strikes are potential. This is this evening, right? Tonight. And the reason I'm not worried is because it's not hot, it's not that dry, and it's not that windy. There's going to be lightning, but they're going to crush it if it happens. That's why the Butler fire, low containment, but getting crushed just because the firefighters are able to really do a nice job with it. Okay, so this is tonight. This is the North American. Chance of thunderstorms, even out over Sacramento, out over Marysville. Okay, so might hear some thunder tonight, probably will hear some thunder tonight somewhere in that zone. And then we get into Friday afternoon, and then we do it again. And then see there? So those are the chances. So when we look at the red flag warnings, we're looking here. We do see the Butler fire here. In the Butler fire, let's see how big it is. I haven't looked at it. This is watchduty.org, 18,000 acres, 10% contained. And it is awesome what they've done. In terms of the green fire, let's see what they're doing. Green's at 19,000 acres, 60% contained. Smoke is not a big deal. We have a little fire here. I think this was yesterday's though. 8 acres. Oh yeah, 1 day ago. That's no big deal. That never happened. And then you got this good sized fire out in Grand Canyon. This guy is 60,000 acres. And they're kind of doing a controlled burn on that as well. Again, because these are parklands, Forest Service. I don't know who the other entities are here, but they got a big fire here, and they got a lot of smoke coming off of that as well. So what am I saying? Red flag warning? Yes. Am I nervous about it? No. When we say red flag warning, it's a buzzword and it's a clickbait word it's a term because it's like it's like that. Don't be that. That's one of the reasons we do this too, because when you understand what I just said, and you do understand, you know this. I'm just articulating it for you because you can't talk back to me. But wait a minute, there's no wind. We can see that from the sea level pressure map. No wind in the forecast either. We can see that there is very minor heat. It's warm, 80s, 90s, low 90s, but not like it normally is. Fuel moistures are moister than you might expect for this time of year. That is awesome. So. And so when you look at those things out of the picture and all you got is lightning, it's almost like bring it on. Doesn't mean bad things don't happen. They do. But in terms of my mind, code red, you got a red flag warning. there's a spectrum on the red flag warning. There is one like tonight and tomorrow up there, which is up with my friends up in Cottonwood, Kenny Olson, you know who you are. That's like a 5 on a scale. No, it's like a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. Campfire Day in Paradise, we knew that was going to be a 9 or a 10, and it was. And everything falls somewhere in between. It depends on those other variables. This is the, so I got a window here now, and I can see people walk by. It's interesting. This is the fire zone. This is up around I wanted to show you the air quality. We're looking towards Lake Shasta. So all my friends up there who are boating around, I know who you are. Lake Shasta is an awesome houseboating lake. This is where the clearing has occurred. And this is looking towards Red Bluff. Isn't that beautiful? So you got great clear. That's unusually clear for even in the summer. It's usually very smoky. So that's up in the Red Bluff area. Here is purple air. I'm going I meant to go fast today, but then I get on these concepts and I really am. The more you know, the better I look. Because it's like, you're like, there's a couple guys, women, and people on this site who chime in and go, hey, did you notice this? I got a guy, the Sonoma Coast guy, who I like a lot. He's really good. You know who you are. And Cobarts and all you guys, Robert, you guys are all like, hey, well, so what I noticed today was, right? So all of a sudden now I've got more data points, right? Data points. And I'm a data point because I'm sitting here in my house. Your data point being information that's coming from a source that I couldn't get it from otherwise. You know what the data points are we use now? Mostly weather balloons, twice a day from San Francisco Airport, from Oakland Airport, from San Jose Airport. It sounds like a lot. It's not. It's not a lot. Not a lot of data points, especially as you get out where there's less airports, big airports, because the airports are required twice a day to send up weather balloon soundings. Those are data points. Each level of the atmosphere, wind speed, temperature, dew point, blah 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 blah. Awesome amounts of data. That information goes into these models, not this one, but most models, the GFS, and that's how you get your data. And in the morning and in the afternoon. So you get 2 balloons a day. It's not very many because, by the way, the atmosphere is changing every minute, every second. It's right. So I can't stress enough how important it is for you guys to get this. Interesting. So I can get better at what I do because I can mine your data. All right, there you go. Anyway, this is what AI is going to try to do, but it's hard to do because you're not giving up your data easy, I don't think. Okay. Here is purple air. Looks good. Okay, real quick, we'll go nationwide. It's funny. Some days I'm like, I'm going to get this done in 5 minutes. And then we're going to end up going 25 minutes here. We're not even to the nature snacks yet. Okay, come on, load up. I kind of get frustrated with the site because it loads so slow. But then I'm like, are you kidding me? The data points, the amount of information that is being loaded on this map from Purple Air, these are sensors all over the country, thousands of them. And they are telling us what the air quality looks like. You can almost see the visibility, right? Does that make sense? Because I see grains, I go, oh yeah, you got it. Like we saw up in Red Bluff. You can see it's clearing. So you can see this is Canadian smoke coming into Minnesota. Dude, you're loading. Okay, as soon as I said that, you're loading slow as heck. Canadian fire is still pushing off smoke. Hope you're having a good day. I'm going to see Dad tomorrow. It's my son's birthday today. Okay, good. Here is the Canadian fires. Purple air is awesome too. Anytime you just glance at the map and go, okay, most of this in the east is not smoke. This is probably just people driving around, and it's hot. It's really hot. And then you see the Butler fire, and then you see the Grand Canyon fire right in here, kind of blowing smoke up in here. Okay, thanks for bearing with me on that. As soon as I said it loads slow, it doesn't load at all. And this is just the Canadian smoke. I threatened yesterday to look at some of these fires close up because they've been letting them burn. Again, that's a lot of outback, if you will. I don't know what they call it in Canada. There's a name for it when they have a regional name for their outback or tundra, or probably tundra, huh? But that's a lot of smoke blowing up. So that is now. Here is, again, the big weather story nationally is these guys. Second day in a row, third day in a row, some real heat. Extreme heat warnings, humidity's in the 50-60% range. Dew points are high. It's nasty. And you go, like right now, if there was hurricane somewhere, you'd be like, oh my God, run. It's like so many people are going to lose their lives and their property. And this happens. Everybody's like, yeah, no big deal. This is more potent than a hurricane, this kind of weather. And it's a silent killer. You can't see what it's doing to animals. You can't see what it's doing to the elderly or people with pre-existing conditions. It's hard on you, and you're in good shape. Think about it, right? If you're down here in Louisiana, in the humidity, you're like, okay, I got to get inside because the weather's hot and I just can't work out today. Okay, that's weather impacting you, and you're a healthy individual. If you're old and you don't have access to air conditioning, oh my God. So I am convinced that it is known that it is the most terminal of all weather events: flooding, hurricanes, tsunamis. Heat takes out the most people every year. There's smoke in Minneapolis. Here's our red flag warnings in Northern California. Again, it's not a high grade one. It's something to think about. But again, I'm not horribly worried. Redding's at 88 degrees today, something like that. That's hot, but it's not windy, and I'm not super concerned about what could happen. I am always concerned, pardon me, but I'm not. It's not like I'm going to code red you. You'll know. When I was on TV, my move was, and I used to get accused of downplaying things by my newsroom, but I was like, it ain't going to happen. Stop. Don't do that, right? We're not here to scare you. We're not here to scare you. And that's what we can do here is I can show, these are the forecast highs for tomorrow. I can show you what the realities of what's happening. And we just talked about the realities of what's happening, that yes, there is a red flag warning, but it's not Campfire. It's not Coffee Park. It's not Palisades. It's a different kind of red flag warning. It's for lightning. It doesn't have all the other ingredients. Here are, that. Okay, again, thanks for hanging in. It's like therapy for me, truthfully. Okay, so this is 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. We know that. We already saw why it's going to be below average. Rainfall forecast. You go, why is he rushing? I'm rushing now because I'm running out of time. Steamer lane, we are looking at small swell. Doesn't get much bigger. I'm going to go surf. I'm going to go see Grandpa tomorrow and surf. This is Cardiff Reef, which you can never really go wrong in San Diego. Got a little bit of wind. That's blowing it out a bit. And swell, kind of staying small. This is Homewood. We're into the nature snacks, but I'm running out of time on my phone, or my camera shuts down at 30 minutes. So if I go away, this is what happened. This is Homewood, Lake Tahoe live. A little bit of wind up on the lake. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. And the bears, this is Brooks Falls. And actually, this is Brooks Falls here. Big fat bears digging it up. We know that bears can get up to 700 pounds. That was Brooks Falls too. It's just lower down. And he's eating. They can eat 50, 60 fish a day. What? And then we got the puffins because they're awesome. And I'm running it right down to the line. And then we got, interesting puffin shot. Shows all the other birds, I guess. East Coast puffins, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, and then jellies. All right. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging in. If you hung in, let me know what you thought. I love hearing from you guys, truthfully. Just even if you just send me a thumbs up. Okay. If you got to the end, just send a thumbs up. That's easy. That's no effort on your part. Plus, then I go, oh yeah, there's more than me here alone. Okay, I'm going to go before the camera shuts out.